You have a redemption arc for both of these guys. Both of these guys are coming off of losses. Both of these guys lost in pretty brutal ways. What would you say was worse? Getting stiffed by Abus Magomedov in like, what, 30 seconds, 45 seconds? I don't know how long the fight lasted for Dustin Stoltzfus. Or just getting brutalized by Roman Kopylov, if you're Punahele Soriano. What was a worse loss to take?
For me, it would have been the Kopylov loss. The Punahele Soriano, man, just going through it mentally, trying to get everything you can get going, trying new techniques, showing the world that you're better than your previous self, and you still get beat up. At least with Dustin Stoltzfus, he can say, I got caught. You know, it looked good. He got caught. It is what it is. But Puna got beat up, man. It's a rough one. What about you?
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing just because you try out your arsenal of techniques and they don't work. And for a Punahele Soriano, the name of the game is kind of land the big shots in round one. And if that doesn't work, you got like quarter way, halfway of round two. And if that doesn't work, then, things start getting ugly and it got real ugly. Is Dustin Stoltzfus the caliber of fighter that can push Puna to those deep, bloody waters?
I don't think so, Derek, especially with the way Dustin Stoltzfus has been fighting lately. He is another fighter who also wears the damage poorly, man. And if anybody's going to do some damage to you, it's Soriano. And that's right there what worries me, man, because Stoltzfus needs to avoid the brawl right here. But in his style of fight, he doesn't really exit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll go and throw punches and stand there looking at the mirror. He doesn't get out or cut angles or have any solidified defense besides just putting your hands up. And when a guy that's throwing ham hocks down the hallway like Soriano does, you can't just stand there.
Yeah. And that's why, I'll just let it out earlier. I said it earlier. That's my prop lock for this one. I think Punahele gets a smash spot, redemption spot, TKO at plus 130. I like that all day long. So give that to me because Dustin Stoltzfus is a guy who is 1-4 in the UFC. He got onto the UFC by beating Joe Pyfer, which aged so well, but you kind of just tossed him and he snapped his arm. So you beat him, but you didn't beat him. You know what I mean? So you get jumped into the deep water. Look at these losses, man. Abus Magomedov, Gerald Mearschart, Rodolfo Vieira, Kyle Dawkins. That's not the easiest run, bro, for a newcomer to the UFC. Now, if you look at Soriano's last five, tell me, who do you think has a better strength of schedule? It was Roman Kopylov, Dolce, Lungiambula, Nick Maximoff, Brendan Allen, and then Dusko Todorovic. So who had the tougher run coming into the UFC?
Stoltzfus for sure, but especially on paper right there, Derek. But a lot of the other side of that coin, Soriano fought a lot of people who were a very bad matchup for him, man. So they were both very, very difficult runs, especially Soriano having to grow. And that's one of the comments, man. One of the pros I wanted to say about Soriano is through his tumultuous fight or season or years in the UFC, he has really grown as a fighter, but still finding a very hard time. I got to give it to Stoltzfus, at least on paper.
Yeah. And at least Puna, he's 3-3 in the UFC, man. So you got an even split record. Stoltzfus got some catching up to do. But the biggest takeaway here, man, is just activity. If Stoltzfus does not get this fight to the ground, I think this is over pretty early. Soriano lands about 4 significant strikes landed per minute, per 15 minutes, which, if you think about it, is kind of crazy given that any one of those shots can put you away, right? Stoltzfus, on the hand, not a big puncher, lands about 3 significant strikes per minute. He's had some success, but I think that it all comes down to clinching you up and then shooting for the legs. But Puna can wrestle too. So it's ooh, that, it's like you can do what he can do, and you can also do stuff on top of it, which is why, to me, easy money, Puna. But if this drags into rounds 2, round 3, I'm not a confident man in Puna in those spots until I am proven different from a money perspective, from a betting perspective. So all I got to say on this one is, again, folks, apologies. I'm not sure what the under is. I imagine it's 1.5 if the odds makers know anything about anything. But under 1.5 rounds, that's the play. Punahele Soriano plus 130 TKO. You want to throw this into a parlay or whatever the case may be for his minus 265. I'm perfectly content with that. But that's my play on this one. How do you see it, AJ?
Just to touch on what you said, Derek, it is 1.5. At least they know what's going on over there. But yeah, no, man, with this one, Punahele Soriano, obviously rocking with Puna. You saw it in the beginning, folks. But don't be surprised, folks, if we see D1 Soriano come out, because yes, he can wrestle and he knows his gas tank can diminish very fast if you're throwing bombs. I would not be shocked to see some takedowns coming out of the Soriano camp.
All right, fair play. So that is the last fight that we got for the main card right here.